Hare Krishna. In the previous class, we have studied why all the sutras are beginning with Atha and Ataha and its importance. Why Omkara is very important, that also we have studied. The 51 letters of Devanagari, A, I, E, up to Ksha. The preceding deities of each, the Akshara letter, and the Antaryami Bhagavad Rupa among Aja, Ananda, up to Ksham, Narasimha. This also we have studied to some extent. The words the and tha and its importance. The tha and tha, the presiding deity is Mukhya Prana, that also we have studied. And finally, eligibility class of the souls as described in Bhagavata Tantra. Bhagavata Tantra is describing the eligibility class of souls for Brahma Vidya. That will continue now in this episode. Further will continue. Hare Krishna. We already had information on the classification based on the race, jati, of different groups of souls. It is based on the inherent nature. Again, there is another classification among souls based on merit, the gunas. First, lowest eligible class, Mandaru, Adhamadikaris. He who has devoted his life, mind, and everything to the Supreme Lord Brahman, the Vishnu, and mastered scriptures, the Sadagamas. They are Mandas. They are interested in study of Brahma Vidya. Second, middle eligible class, Madhyama Adhikaris, Madhyamas. In addition to the eligibility list listed in the above class, first class, he who has got highest level of Shama, dedication towards lotus feet of Brahman, the Lord Narayana, and Dhamma, highest level of sense and mind control mechanism. The third highest eligible class is Uttama Adhikari. In addition to eligibility mentioned in above two classes, he who perceives the futility and perishable temporary characteristics of all the things, starting from four-headed Brahmadeva and down to the lowest jiva, the tiny clamp of grass, Trunajivi. He feels everything is perishable. He will not give much importance for all the worldly affairs. And he who has the highest level of Vairagya, the renounced way of life, and only concentrating on the lotus feet of Brahman at all the time. And he will submit all his deeds to the Lord Almighty. So he is highest class. To conclude, among all the three categories mentioned above, if one is involved more in Brahma Vidya and less in other required deeds in lesser extent, is Adhama, lower class. If one is involved in Brahma Vidya and also at the higher level of Shama and Dhamma quality, is Madhyama, medium. If one is along with Brahma Vidya, Shama, Dhamma, and also with higher level of Vairagya, renunciation, along with extreme devotion, bhakti, to the Brahman is Uttama, highest order. To brief in simple words, if all the qualities mentioned above altogether are in limited way, is Adhama. In higher level is Madhyama. And in highest level is Uttama Adhikari. So it is briefed. The Brahma Sutras itself are also supporting this. In the elsewhere, the Brahma Sutras also supporting this. Adhyana Matravataha 3.4.12 and Navisheshat 3.4.13. These two Brahma Sutras support above class. Only after he who has studied all the Vedas to the highest extent of his limit, he gets eligibility for Brahma Vidya. And not without difference, the status of eligibility is with ranking based on their efforts and inherent characteristics of the respective souls, the jivas. This can be further explained by day-to-day experience, what we are having, what we are knowing. In any competition, selection, the ranking will be decided based on the overall ability, overall merit of the person. For example, in 100-meter running race, a person who is fastest to reach the final line is the topper and the next person is second. This is an example, orderly example. The Brihadaranyaka Upanishad 6.4.23 quotes Shanto Dantaha Uparataha Titikshu. Who will be able to find, get the Brahman? Who will be able to find? It answers. A person who devoted his mind to Brahman first. A person who controls his sensory organs. Next, a person who is not after materialistic pleasures, that is, who has eschewed materialistic pleasures, and a person who has become indifferent to hopes and fears. Fifth one, a person who has become indifferent to pleasure and sorrow. A person who perceives things as it is, such a person is mastered Shama and Dhamma. He is called as Sthitaprajna. In Atharvana Upanishad 1-10 quotes, Pariksha lokan karmachitan brahmano nirvedamayat. The fit person is gaining Brahmadhyana is explained with happiness that one will get in Svargaloka, that in the loka of Indra and other higher lokas such as Maharloka, Janoloka and Tapolokas is a temporary one, because he is getting these worlds on account of his deeds of materialistic cause, the Kamya Karmas. On completion of enjoyments there in those lokas, one has to fall back to this world, this earth. So he will subdue his desires and become a Vairagi, a renowned person. He should become a renowned person. Then only he can go for a Brahma Vidya. Otherwise he will be going to the higher planets and he will enjoy there. After completion of all that deeds, fruits, he will again fall back to this earth. So he will sincerely find a suitable guru, the teacher, for learning the scriptures, the sadhagamas. He studies Brahma Vidya. The study only will yield results of getting Brahma knowledge. Thus he will be in the path of getting Brahman. Getting Brahman is getting salvation, the eternal bliss permanently. In Katakopanishad 2.23, Yame Vaisha Vrunate Tena Labhyaha says that, but to whom the Lord grants the mind of devotion towards same, to whom the Lord chooses out of grace to him, only the Lord is accessible and the Lord reveals himself. It is the Lord's will to whom to grant the salvation or otherwise. It is not our right. Only we have to request the Lord. It is the right of the Lord to grant love to whom He decides. So we have to perform our duties. We should try to get a Brahmadhyana out of devotion to the Lord's feet. The Brahman, the Narayana, is Supreme God, and the soul, jivas like us, is atomic in nature and totally dependent on the Lord for liberation from ignorance, the birth, death, birth cycle. So we should have devotion towards the Lord. It is left to the Lord to grant us salvation or not. But we should have a deep devotion. we should study. In Svetaswaropanishad, Yasya deve parabhaktihi yata deve tatha gurau 6.23 says, informs about the best student of Brahma Vidya. Who will learn Brahma Vidya to the most satisfaction of his teacher? He is best. A student learns Brahma Vidya to the most satisfaction of his teacher. Who is the most liked student by his teacher? The answer is, who has intense devotion to the Brahman. He is best student. He will be at the satisfaction of his teacher. Who has devotion to his teacher, the Guru, and to all the devatas based on the Taratamya, the grading among them. He will definitely liked by the student. For him, all the knowledge imparted by his teacher, the Guru, will be understood for such a student mentioned above. And his mind will act as a magnet to absorb them all. Whatever taught from the Guru, he will absorb like a magnet. The sadhagamas taught by the teacher. He will become wonderful student. He will learn everything. The grace of the teacher is must for the student. The student should serve the teacher. That is Guru Susurusha, for gaining his affection. In Vyoma Samhita, a solution is given for those who are deprived of study of Brahma Vidya and for those who are not eligible for Brahma Vidya. The deprived class and those who are not eligible for Brahma Vidya studies because it is very difficult. So for them also some what the Lord has granted them. Pity, shown pity on them. If they are truly interested in seeking the knowledge of Brahman, and if they are truly devotees of Brahman, they are eligible for initiation in respect of the knowledge of the sacred name of the Brahman by the process of chanting of the holy names of Brahman, Harinama Smarane, Harinama Japa, so that they will get salvation in due course. Chanting Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. This is called as the Kali Santarana Upanishad. This Namasmarana is famous worldwide. Very, very important. We should chant Hare Namasmarana at all the time. Some people among Trivarnas, the Brahmana, Kshatriya and Vaishya class of society, are also deprived of Vedic studies, the Brahma Vidya, the Vedic initiation process due to various causes. Some are referred as Brahma Bandhus, being born in Brahman classes but have not studied Brahma Vidya and not following the principles sincerely. These Brahma Bandhus are also allowed with others referred deprived classes to obtain Brahma Vidya, the knowledge of Tantra works such as Panchatantragamas and associated knowledge books. They can study and gain the Brahma Vidya. So these people also has given a syllabus, separate easy syllabus for them to get the devotion and pray the God, Brahman, for getting salvation. Woman class is also allowed for obtaining Brahma Jnana by easy process of initiation of chanting Harinama Smarane of holy names of the Lord, listening to his stories and so on. Women also can do this. The main eligibility for all these classes of people is one must have deep devotion to the Lord Sri Hari. Women of celestial orders, women of Sargaloka and higher lokas, Devata Stris such as Shachi, Shamala, Rati, Urvasi and others are also eligible for study of Vedas, scriptures. They will study Vedas because they are all Devata Stris. We will continue further. Hare Srinivasa.